Hi there, Diane Bolden here, executive coach and author of The Pinocchio Principle, Becoming a Real Leader. And I'm coming to you today from my garage. Our daughter, who just turned 19, has left to go off to college. She's the last of our three children, so we are now empty nesters. And accordingly, we've made a few changes, realizing it's maybe time for us to go through some things to kind of mark the change, release the past, herald in the new. One of the things that we did was go through the garage, which is something that we haven't done in over 20 years. So you can imagine the piles and heaps of things that we have had to get rid of. And the process of going through everything was quite emotional. It actually gave me a lot of insights around change, which I think is kind of a constant for all of us right now. Whether it's your kids leaving for college or things that are happening in your career, shakeups, organizational changes, or just navigating a post-COVID, or I guess we're still in COVID to some degree, world. We're moving away from a lot of things, but we're not exactly sure what it is that we're moving to. So as I was going through some of the stuff in my garage and starting to have some insights for how I could deal with change in my own life, the thought occurred to me that maybe it would be fun to shoot a video, share those insights with you for what it's worth, in hopes that perhaps it could help you too. So I wanted to share a couple things that came to me. One of them was really about honoring the past. And you know, there's some things that you just can't give away. Like this little teddy bear that was my daughter's favorite when she was a baby. And this sweater that both of our two boys wore, both of whom are now over 6'5", well over 6'4". And yeah, it's hard to imagine that they actually used to fit in this. And one of the things that really hit me with going through all of this was it's really important to honor the past and to celebrate it and to feel it and to be grateful for it, and also not to let it dictate your future. So I think one of the things that's hardest about change is that we feel like we're losing something. We feel like something's being taken from us, things that are precious. And again, sometimes it's easier to make change when we're the ones initiating it, you know? And it can be really difficult when you're in the midst of change that you had no say in. Maybe the rug was pulled out from under you, or there's been sudden shifts in your work, or things in the world that are difficult for all of us. And I really think that, like I said, if we can focus more on the possibilities than on the things that we're losing, we'll be in such a better place to navigate those changes. So the other thing that I realize that's important as we kind of allow ourselves to release the past and open ourselves to the future is to embrace the uncertainty. It is unsettling, isn't it, when you don't really know exactly what the future will hold? But one of the things that I'm learning is that it's really important for us to get clear on what it is that we want, what it is that we want to create. And I know that there's no guarantees that the things that we want will actually come about. And sometimes the things you want to create, you have no idea how to go about creating them or where to even start. But I think just starting with desire can be really powerful, and just identifying what it is that's calling to you, what it is that you would like to create, or even as simple as what it is that you would like to be experiencing. Like I said, we can't always change the circumstances that are thrown at us, but we really do have a choice as to how we're going to show up and navigate through them. And I think the other thing that's really important to remember that going through the garage has reminded me is that we've all been through a lot of change. You know, we've evolved a lot. There have been a lot of little hiccups, a lot of things that have hit us. And if you think about your own past, chances are there have been quite a few things that led you to feel uncertain or frustrated or confused or maybe afraid, or at the very least, a little discombobulated. But you got through it. And you probably learned a thing or two. And the things that you've learned and experienced along the way really shaped you into who you are today. So I think it's important for us to remember that we have more resilience, we have more strength than we might give ourselves credit for, and to draw on that strength in times of uncertainty. And the last thing that I realized that I think is really important, and I know I'm always trying to get better at this. In fact, it's one of the things that I'm most passionate about in the work that I do with my clients, is the importance of really taking care of ourselves. Because in times of change, when there's a lot of stress, when there's a lot of pressure, when there's a lot of variables around us that we can't always control, it's really easy to succumb to fear. It's really easy to begin to give credence to those voices in our heads that suggest that things might not turn out okay, that maybe we don't really know what it is that we're doing, or that we should know something that we don't know, or to beat ourselves up, or to get lost in stories about what could happen or what has happened to other people. We create so many different scenarios, and then I think oftentimes we get so vested in the reality that they create in our mind that we have trouble differentiating them from what's really happening. And I think when we get swept into that fear and that anxiety, we tend to slip a little off our game. You know, you don't make as good of decisions. You don't have the clarity that you would normally have. You might be a little bit more irritable. Might be more difficult for you really to find your center, that place that has the wisdom and your ability to really kind of discern what it is that you might need to do next. I think it would be wonderful if we could have all the answers, all the steps that we need to take in order to navigate through life's craziest challenges. But in reality, oftentimes, we don't really even know what the next step is until we've taken the first one. So I think we have to give ourselves credit for showing up. Sometimes the most important feat is not to have run away. So I think taking good care of ourselves and making sure that when you do take good care of yourself, that you're doing something that really fills you up. Because I think when we take the time to do that, we get out of that crazy hamster wheel that has us running like mad but not getting anywhere, and has us all up in arms, really, really busy but not very productive. You know that feeling when you've been working really hard on something but it seems like you're not any further an hour later than you were when you started? And I think that's what happens when we don't give ourselves breaks, when we don't allow ourselves to have enough sleep, when we don't allow ourselves to eat good food and to take the time to do things to fill ourselves up, whether that's going out and having some exercise. It could be calling up a good friend, allowing yourself to go and have a cup of coffee. And maybe the cup of coffee is just with yourself so that you can have a time out. Whatever that is, you know what it is. You know what you would love to do. Maybe you don't. Maybe you need to ask yourself if you could give yourself a half an hour even. What would you do with it? What would you do that would feed you, that would fill you back up again and help you get to that place where you have what it takes to navigate through any twist and turn that could possibly be thrown at you? So that's what I have to share with you for today. If you're interested in more, I actually just designed a course. It's a video-based self-study course called Navigating Change, Challenge, and Uncertainty. And I will drop a link to that in the comments below if any of you are interested in that. And I wish you all the best, regardless of where you find yourself right now. I encourage you to remember to honor your past and cherish it and treasure it without allowing it to dictate your future. Remember to think about what it is that you most want for yourself. Embrace the uncertainty and recognize that when nothing is certain, anything is possible. And to take good care of yourself. Because when you take good care of yourself, you'll make good decisions and you'll be able to better discern what you most need to do in order to find your way through any change, challenge, or uncertainty that you could possibly be faced with. Thanks so much for watching.